Would somebody please switch my camera on, please? Switch it on. I'm not messing. I've got Steve Nork in here. I've got a feather duster and it's loaded. Don't believe me?
He's not bluffing. Help.
Now roll the titles.
Oh my god.
I said roll the titles.
No.
Don't make me do this.
Not the duster. Har 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 he 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 he. TV Offal, the mechanically recovered meat of television.
Now, this celebration program is not intended in any way at all to be a historical documentary. All we're trying to present to you is an informal reintroduction of some of the people who have helped fuck up television.
And in tonight's never-before-seen collection of TV Offal, we show you the secret shame of Riverdance, a foul-mouthed outburst from Jim Bowen. But we start with famous singers committing suicide in TV Offal's very own Kamikaze Karaoke.
If you want to know what the stars really sound like, here's your chance with Kamikaze Karaoke.
If you're an estrogen-crazed teenage girl, Boyzone sound wonderful to you. But I'm nearly 40, I've got tits, and this is how they sound to me.
I can't continue guessing, because it's only messing with my pride, with my pride, with my mind, with my mind. So right now, it's time to love me for more, girl. Let me be the one, girl. Love me for a year, girl. Let the reason be love. Don't love me for more, girl. Let me be the one, girl. Love me for a reason. Let the reason be love.
Rock videos... Sorry, I'm having my lunch. Rock videos are not, of course, a new phenomenon. Back in the 1970s, BBC Wales was at the cutting edge of the pop music industry, producing its own answer to Top of the Pops, Disc a Dawn. Presented by a part-time geography teacher sporting a seed packet shirt,
ar Disc a Dawn unwaith o'r blaen, ond tro yma maen nhw ar ffilm.
with a studio audience of happening Celtic teenagers crazed on a heady and dangerous mix of Barrett's sherbet fountains and crisps. This is a typical example of a Welsh chart topper.
Helo goeden, sut mae'r tywydd? Wyt ti'n gwybod rhywbeth newydd? A oes gen ti ddim i'w ddweud? Teimlo'n heini.
Don't mock it, kids. If you've got any Welsh blood inside you, this woman could be your mother. These poor people are dying. Talking of which changes tone of voice to sombre, it is with deep regret that we now interrupt this programme with an obituary.
Another unexpected celebrity bites the dust. On TV, Offal's honest obituary.
It was only this week that Noel Edmonds, still at the height of his powers, was busily displaying his unique comedic gifts, making hilarious gestures and covering members of the public in pink gunk. Born Noel Edmonds started his career by entertaining children. Then, due to a scheduling error in the early 80s, his infantile shows began to be transmitted in an adult time slot.
Hello.
With his streaked hair, his common touch, and his smug, self-assured manner,
Hello, what's your name? Hello, Jackie.
Edmonds was a family entertainer who never resorted to smutty schoolboy innuendo.
And we all know how important it is to have your ghoulies comfortable. Somebody's fiddling with my knob.
Some saw him as a stinking, slimy, down-market local rep from a package holiday firm. His critics were less kind. They claimed that he suffered from little man problem and was living proof of the truth of the basic TV theorem: the smaller the presenter's stature, the bigger the ego. Perhaps it was the shortness of his legs that explained the mystery of Edmonds' pointless running about the studio. Some said it was simply another way of drawing attention to himself. Others wondered why he didn't just set off a few seconds earlier and just walk around like a normal person. But Edmonds was no normal person. Right up to his death this week, Edmonds, a sensitive man who refused to endorse products which might ordinarily have been useful to him, never courted publicity. But Noel Edmonds' life was clouded by tragedy. Luckily, always other people's tragedies, never his. In his desire to tickle the nation's funny bone, an untrained member of the public has, in the past, ended up breaking every bone in his body, while attempting to perform what proved to be a lethal stunt for Mr. Edmonds' programme. However, in recent years, the BBC insisted that such dangerous stunts must be avoided on his show, so instead, as in his last show, broadcast just a few months ago, Noel would simply spin and hurl members of the public around the studio, an intensely amusing idea that raised only the far safer dangers of dislocation, fracture and concussion. But it is as a 50-year-old man playing schoolboy practical jokes for which he'll be best remembered. Indeed, the manner of his death was so bizarre, many thought it was a practical joke. Edmonds had become so thoroughly slimy that eventually, live on camera, he spontaneously oleaginated and turned into a massive oil slick that was accidentally released into the ocean, causing ecological havoc amongst seabirds and animals in the vicinity. An undignified end to the career of one of the brightest stars in the televisual firmament. He leaves £50 million and no friends. Noel Edmonds, who died yesterday.
TV Offal.
Apropos of nothing, when I was a child and the Daleks were only shown in black and white, they looked to me like frightening Nazis. But then came colour television, and suddenly I could see that they were really rather florid and harmless. Indeed, there's something intrinsically effeminate about Daleks after all. There's the skirt, the plunger that's always getting erect when other Daleks are around, the all-male bonding, the obsession with discipline. Isn't it obvious? The Daleks are gay. And this is what they seem like to me.
They're camp. They exterminate. Better watch your backs. It's the gay Daleks.
Where have you been all day, you bitch? I have been cottaging on the heath. Did you score? No, not so much as a quick one off me plunger. But guess who I saw at the underpants section in Selfridges? Tell me. Michael Portillo. Gorgeous. Unfortunately, he is not a homo, so I ejaculated him. You vicious old queen. He had huge feet, and you know what they say about men with big feet? Yes, big shoes. Ha 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 ha. Let's go to a sauna. Pass me some KY jelly. Ooh, ooh, white wee wee. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, YMCA, young man, YMCA.
Join the Gay Daleks next time when they organise a giant open-air pop-up party at Clacton and go clubbing with Jason Donovan and Terry Waite.
Young man, YMCA.
Tantrums of the Week.
Tantrum of the Week. This is QVC, whose viewers have an IQ of 3, and since it takes 2 to grunt, we're talking low. Low, low, low. As for the presenters, they're sad people who are unable to realise that life is just that little bit too short to be turning cucumbers into Mobius strips. And this is ex-Anglia TV announcer turned QVC star, Paul Lavers. He's just read a review that I'd written about him in that evening's newspaper. He's been brooding about it all night, and now he's throwing a tantrum in my direction at 2 a.m, little suspecting I'm watching and had my TV Offal video recorder running.
I know what Victor Lewis Smith of the Evening Standard would be saying. Well, of course you lift it with the handles. Yeah, OK, Vic, me old mate. But what the nice thing about these handles, Vic, is that they're at a great angle, so you're not going to drop it. And also, they don't stick out at the sides, unlike you, Vic.
Dear, dear, it's harder to know what's sadder, Paul losing his pride and letting himself go, or me watching QVC at 2 a.m. in the first place. Answers, please, on a postcard, which will be placed in the circular filing cabinet in my office, the one marked rubbish bin. Look at these poor people. Look, they're Irish cripples. It's tragic. They have their shoulders hammered and their arms dislocated at birth. And then they're smuggled into London and pushed on stage and forced to dance in this terrible freak show. Look at their pathetic arms dangling by their side. They can only use their legs. And next time on Channel 4, we'll be looking, excuse me, I know this is... Excuse me, I know this is a little unusual for a television announcer, but without warning, I find that I have to go to the toilet. Would you join me, please, while I have a tinkle? I'm sorry about this. I know it's unusual for television, but I've got to just get my fly open. Prostate problems. There you are. I'm having a wee-wee. I think this is a first on British television as well.
And now it's time to show the secret films. The clips, the stars hope we never see. The shows that failed, derailed, and never made it to our screens. We bring you the pilots that crash.
And welcome to fucking Bullseye. You're Andy, you're from Cockermouth. Is that where you live, or is it just your hobby? Just a hobby. I'll ask you again.
Right.
Name? Who keeps farting up there? Please welcome God's answer to the mathematics, please.
Hi, it's Stephen Hawking again. Coming up next, Assassination of the Week. And it's a real rib tickler today. Har he har he har he har he har he he har.
Assassination of the week. Did they live or are they worm food?
Yes, it's Assassination of the Week. And we take you back to South Korea in 1974. Meet the Korean president, Park Chung-hee, and his charming wife, Suk. In Korea, they really know how to heckle. But on this occasion, not even Bernard Manning could deflect the criticism. Well, did the president end up worm food, or did he escape? Decide now. Guess correctly, and you could win a free lifetime supply of oxygen. Join TV Offal after the break.
TV Offal.
Welcome back to TV Offal. Sorry about that. Before the break, we asked you whether President Park Chung-hee was killed by the assassin's bullet and consequently moved out of office and into the Pine Bungalow. Watch closely. Gunman runs up, fires at the president, but oh dear, it's the president's wife who copped it. And would you believe it? The president, shaken but not stirred, is already back on his feet. And totally indifferent to the fact that his wife had now become eligible for a full-page spread in Goodbye magazine. Next time we visit Japan for more vaudeville-style carnage.
Kamikaze karaoke.
This caterwauling fat bastard is obviously preparing well in advance for the advent of widescreen television. Tell you something, if you stink of Steradent and you've got blue rinsed hair, he may sound like this to you, but this is how he sounds to me.
Oh, night is early, quite belle night. Oh, sole mio, thy frontier tie. Oh, sole mio, thy frontier tie. Thy frontier.
You've already met the pilot that crashed. Now for the ad that crashed.
For perfection in wine, food and atmosphere, this must be the restaurant of your choice.
Yes, wine and dine her at the Criterion Steak and Lounge Bar. Prawn cocktails a speciality.
Next, racism, and we take you back to the days when bigoted gentlemen like this were in no way regarded as awful by television companies.
The black man has a different set of standards, values, morals and principles. In many cases, their grandfathers were eating each other. Well, the lion doesn't change his spots in all that time. But look at it this way. They come over here. Where they go in, the houses become cesspits of dirt.
Now, this is not inevitable.
Very often. If a black man makes a lot of money, what do you find? Again, a lack of taste. He's flashy. He's very often arrogant.
Have you got a daughter yourself?
I have a daughter who is young, charming, intelligent, with taste and discrimination.
Well, what would you feel if she said that she was going to marry a colored man?
I should strongly advise her against it. I should give her all the practical reasons why not. I should ask her if she wanted to wake up in the morning and see a coffee-colored little imp on the pillow beside her, calling her mummy. If she did marry him, I should be bitterly disappointed.
Are you implying that a half-caste is in any way mentally deficient?
Definitely.
Thankfully, television has come a long way since those days. Oh no! Oh, sod it! We have a fault. Oh, it seems that these are not the only colour bars in British television. Personally, I favoured the black and white colour bars. And come to that, the monochrome test cards and music. For example, who can forget Test Card A? I can. Anglia TV's Test Card B was considered too dangerously exciting for the viewers in the Norwich area and was replaced by Test Card C and D, which saw right through until the advent of colour and Test Card F. Lovely. But what, you are asking, ever happened to Test Card E? This is Test Card E. Ah, it's disgusting. TV Offal can reveal that it was withdrawn after only 3 minutes on the air. I mean, it's obvious why it was taken off. The chrominance is all over the end of the luminance. Next time, the TV Offal Night School history course will be looking back at TV clocks and recalling the BBC's great clock caption disaster of 1972, when, owing to a carelessly driven tea trolley, the entire nation glimpsed the hard-working BBC engineers.
Fantasy programme of the week. What if Richard Baker were blind drunk at the last night of the proms? Which, of course, he wasn't.
Good evening, and we welcome viewers around the world to the last night of the proms. I'm up in the gallery of the hall tonight, insulated, to some extent anyway, from the hubbub that's likely to go on down below. And the promenaders are here in force. A great chorus of unmarried misfits. In short, a lot of flag-waving, train-spotting, gawky, ugly bastards. Oh, God, look at the state of him. It's hard to believe it, isn't it, that out of 100,000 sperm, he was the quickest. It's someone who doesn't have a sense of humour, but he does have a pig on his head. If it weren't for pickpockets, his lot would have no sex life at all. Oh, dear. Oh, there's an ugly git. Oh, dear, there's another ugly git. Oh. I'm told to say that we're being joined by Japanese television tonight, who are revelling, no doubt, in the humiliating sight of a nation trapped in the 1920s, numbing ourselves to the reality that Britain is now an insignificant little pinprick somewhere off the coast of Western Europe. Well, I'm not pissed. I'm not pissed.
TV Offal, TV Offal,
As you doubtless already know, TV Offal's secret mission is to unearth rare and long-forgotten archive footage never viewed by anyone before. In the case of student television programmes, unseen footage is easy to find because no one was ever watching it in the first place. I'm sorry. Thanks to Mammoth Research, and this, by the way, is our researcher, Brian the Mammoth, we can now bring you television's answer to the Challenger Space Shuttle. GTV, Birmingham University Student Television, a station even blind people can appreciate because of this garish low-tech station ident. Put your hands near the pulsating screen. You can actually feel the glow. Go on, try. Go on, try. Warm up your hands. Go on, try. No, it's too late. Look at the quality of this. Back in the 1980s, GTV was still working on the 25-line Baird gas-fired television system. No budget, no audience, no talent, and no intellectual distraction whatever. Surprisingly, though, the programmes themselves were crap.
Hello. My name's Andrew.
Think we found a juvenile Andy Peters? Sadly not. My thinking is this must be another Andrew.
Yes, another one, I hear you say. And
the first rule of current affair television is rule number 1. Always start with a simple, coherent, searching question. What about something like, they're going to tell us a little bit about amnesty, which will be, Avina, I think I should say, oh gosh. Try that.
They're going to tell us a little bit about amnesty, which will be, having it, I think I should say, oh gosh. First question I think I should ask is, I don't know anything about amnesty. I'm sorry, okay? What is amnesty?
Amnesty is a apolitical organisation which works for the release...
Nah, they've lost him. He's gone. The drawback of having a 3-millisecond attention span is it leaves you with an intellect rivalled only by garden tools. And the show's budget? Nah, doesn't run to a packet of tin tacks, I'm afraid. But did GTV ever spawn a real TV presenter? No. Frankly, we searched and searched and searched. We couldn't find a real TV presenter, but what we could find was Philippa Forrester. 10 years on, this is Philippa starring in Tomorrow's World, if it's technically possible to star in such crap. 10 years off, the star of GTV was the very same Philippa Forrester, who, since 1987, has clearly undergone a complete manual evacuation of the vowels. In those days, she sounded a bit rough, like Cheryl Baker.
Man from the Daily Mail nearly died laughing.
But being a university girl, her vocabulary was impeccable.
But apart from that, there's fuck all on at the theatre this week. But apart from that, there's fuck all on at the theatre this week.
When I say impeccable, I mean she swore like a navvy with piles. Like all TV legends, I suppose, and also like all TV legends, Anne and Nick, Richard and Judy, Titch and Quackers, Philippa's greatest work was as part of a team. On GTV, she double-headed with geography undergraduate and campus heartthrob, Roger. Roger by name, but not by nature. He always abstained from sex for religious reasons. God made him profoundly gorgeous. Even so, look at the chemistry between this couple, who were, believe it or not, nearly signed up by Westwood Television. Sadly, Roger took a more attractive offer, and is now Crawley Area Sales Manager for Harlequin brand dog food.
Harlequin dog food. Philippa.
While Philippa used GTV to rehearse the shampoo commercials she felt certain would come. Any more shots like this and I feel certain I'll come. Oh, sorry. Funny that Philippa was the one who got into TV because... Roger had the bigger breasts.
Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. You've been a wonderful audience. Good night.
Next time, TV Offal opens the archives of Hospital Television, Basildon.
You're watching Eastwood Hospital Television. It's South East Essex premier hospital television station. Hello and welcome to Highwood Hospital here in Brentwood.
Broadcasting to 4 semi-conscious patients in Testicle Ward F. We'll see outside broadcasts.
So I'll be telling you all about what you can see a bit later.
And discover a surprise presenter for the network, Christopher Biggins.
We're watching Eastwood Hospital Television at the Christmas parade on a bit of a rainy day, sadly.
Is it me, or can anyone smell burning?
I know a guy who's made a packet from filming animals, what a racket.
It's nice being Dave. He films animals giving head. It's nice being Dave. And he gets them shown before the watershed.
The BBC claim they are education. In truth, they're snuff movies for the nation.
Light entertainment, red and tooth and claw. Sex and violence and death and gore. Doggies and froggies and moggies too. Monkeys and parrots, they all screw. But there's one species that'll never be born. That's the whispering Attenborough.
It's not always easy to decide in these partnerships which is exploiting which.
It's nice being Dave. So nice. He's Johnny Morris without the jokes. It's nice being Dave. So nice. With his unnatural history shows. But now we must stop, cause our lawyer says that Dave will sue.
Well, we've covered pretty well everything this week. Elephants' erections, Christopher Biggins, same thing. Pavarotti breaking wind, still the same thing. But surely television was meant to be better than Offal. How different it all seemed back in the 1950s, when Parliament passed the Television Act.
There shall be an authority, it said, whose function shall be to provide television broadcasting services additional to those of the British Broadcasting Corporation and of high quality, both as to transmission and as to the matter transmitted.
Hello, Carlton TV.
Oh, hello. May I just say I'm a great fan of Carlton Television?
Oh, I'm pleased.
I enjoy all the programmes. It's a byword for quality, sophistication, and making a lot of money. Are you squeamish?
Why?
Well, I have a game show idea involving a televised, it's like a public...
Ah, I see, you've got a game show idea.
Yeah, involving a public execution. It's tasteful, there's no blood, there's some charring, but no blood.
Carry on.
What do you think of this? You know that game, the ring, you know the ring that goes round the wiggly bent metal thing at Fates? You know what's it called? Is it Buzzle, isn't it? Something like Buzzle?
I don't know, I'm sorry, I know what you mean, but I don't know what it's called.
What you do is you get a serial murderer to take the Buzzle challenge. It'd be like the golden shot. If he touches the metal, it won't be a Buzzle that'll go off, it'll be him. You get lots of tension.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's very tasteful, like Carlton. Now, if he screws up, what you do is you combine it with the National Lottery, and whoever's got the lucky ticket when he slips up, they'll win a fortune.
Well, after TV Offal, how about some prime rib from Chris Evans? TFI Friday is next on 4.
We will accept unsolicited material, but we have no guidelines here. But
no, I've noticed that. I've seen the programmes.
Another swell TV show from Associated Rediffusion.